would like to extend our gratitude for allowing us the time to speak at this meeting. We are former students of the South Surrey White Rock Learning Centre, and we are here to represent the Save the Surrey Learning Centre's campaign. Our petition to oppose the closures have reached 6,500 signatures, mostly from Surrey residents. We present a series of over 100 statements from individuals who have benefited manifestly from the Learning Centre. Full statements will be provided for your review with selected excerpts to be shared. I went to see the principal where I broke down and I told him about the bullying I was going through, both on social media and in the school. And that's when he said, I can't kick out hundreds of students, but I can kick out one. And off to the Learning Centre I went. The White Rock Learning Centre changed my life, and I know I wouldn't have finished high school if it wasn't for this school. I'm so sorry to the current students who are probably terrified about this change. Finally, you have a sense of belonging somewhere, and now it's being ripped away from you. One former student interviewed, when asked if they would have gone back to the mainstream school. Guildford Learning Centre felt like a safe haven, like a paradise in comparison. I would not go back, perhaps another school outside my catchment, or one that was different. Going back would have been hell for me.
While attending a mainstream school, I had a plan to end my life because I genuinely felt as though I would never be able to amount to anything since I could not even get through high school. After switching to the Learning Centre, I realized that there was no judgment from these kids, and I felt like for the first time in my school experience that I belonged. The teachers and staff were incredibly caring and gentle with my fragile mental health, and their patience with me as I settled in is what made me feel so safe. They didn't have to tell me it was a safe space, I could just feel it. Many students come to this school when they don't know where else to go. This school is their home. As a former foster care student myself, I often came to this school when my home was not the best environment. At times during my stay at the Learning Centre, I was living in a tent. At other points, I was staying in a group home that had inadequate resources for us kids. The Learning Centre offered a supportive place where I could receive help with these things and still get a good and fair education. We have heard stories of students being bullied and assaulted at their mainstream school and finding a safe haven at the Learning Centre. Neurodivergent students that depend on the quiet environment and the specialized expertise. At-risk students who found themselves a home where they otherwise had none. To us, LGBTQA+, BIPOC, and otherwise marginalized students who faced discrimination in their mainstream schools and found community at the Learning Centre. We have heard from so many former students who have graduated university, started successful businesses, or become community leaders who claim to owe their success to learning centers. Kids are being caught in pivotal moments of their lives, and it is making a real lifelong impact.
In British Columbia, it is not a requirement for teachers to take courses on special education or trauma-informed care to become teachers. However, in order to achieve a position at a learning center, teachers must meet specialized criteria. Teachers using similar specialized frameworks and similar levels of understanding collaborate, which creates the culture that is an integral part of student experience at the Learning Center. At a mainstream school, special education and trauma-informed care is not the main goal because it is only a requirement for the minority of students. This creates a different theory-based understanding practice for educators, which translates into the culture that doesn't work for some students, the students that end up in the Learning Center. Learning centers are designed as trauma-informed spaces. Teachers are trained in trauma-informed care, specifically designed to address adverse childhood experiences. Adverse childhood experiences are indicators for negative life outcomes. In total, there are 10 identified adverse childhood experiences. The average Learning Center student has experienced upwards of 7. At the White Rock South Surrey Learning Center, the staff's practice is in part informed by the work of Indigenous psychologist Martin Brokenleg and Larry Brentro on reclaiming lost youth. The staff has an amazing track record of restoring a broken student to wellness through belonging, independence, mastery, and generosity. These are special cases which require special approaches. We appreciate the work mainstream teachers do, but we would also like the board to acknowledge that when you need heart surgery, you don't call your family doctor, you consult a heart surgeon.
The Surrey School Board's vision is, we prepare our learners to think creatively and critically, communicate skillfully, and demonstrate care for self and others. I'd like to invite the board to take a moment to look around this room at all of the students, current and former. They've thought critically about this decision. They've come up with creative solutions to oppose it. They've communicated skillfully, both with you and in uniting the community. They're demonstrating an amazing commitment to their own education and to the education of future generations. The Learning Center did that. The Learning Center helped mold all of these people here in front of you today, and closing an institution that meets your vision so clearly seems to contradict all of your stated values. I'd like now to turn to policy 6801.1, which is the Surrey School Board's policy that dictates the procedure which needs to be followed in the case of a school closure. The BC Schools Act definition of a school is A body of students that is organized as unit for educational purposes under the supervision of a principal or vice principal. B, the teachers and other staff members associated with the unit. And C, the facilities associated with the unit. The South Surrey White Rock Learning Center meets these criteria for a school, and therefore we think that policy 6801.1 must apply to its closure. Section 1.1, public board meeting. Any proposed closure of a school should first be raised at a regular board meeting. We have looked through the past 5 years of district meeting minutes and recordings. We were able to find mention of the amalgamation of Guildford into North Surrey, as well as the proposed amalgamation of City Central Learning Center into either Queen Elizabeth Secondary or North Surrey Learning Center. We were unable to find any record of a meeting regarding the proposed closure of the South Surrey White Rock Learning Center. And we'd like to take this opportunity to allow the district to respond and tell us when this meeting was held or why it was not held. Section 1.2, public consultation. Public consultation should be undertaken by the board prior to making a final decision on the proposed closure of a school. We're wondering if as yet the decision is final, or if this meeting serves as that consultation and therefore the decision has not been made. If so, we're wondering how the decision to not renew the lease could have preceded this meeting. Section 1.3, public meeting. The time and place of the public meeting should be appropriately advertised to ensure adequate advance notification to affected persons, community agencies, and organizations in the community. Generally, this will mean a letter to students and parents of students currently attending the school, and a clearly visible notice in a local newspaper. We'd once again like to give the board the opportunity to describe how this was done in keeping with the policy. Section 1.5, criteria for considering a school closure. A school may be considered for closure when there is sufficient space to accommodate the students in neighboring schools. In addition, the following factors need to be considered: the present 3- and 5-year enrollment projection and future enrollment growth of persons less than school age. We would like to take this opportunity to ask the board what the present 3- to 5-year enrollment projections are and how this decision affects future enrollment growth.
We have spoken to the building manager, and we have it on his authority that the lease increase was approximately $300 a month, and there wasn't any attempt by your office to renegotiate the lease. We know that the lease costs approximately $14,700 per month. This increase is only 2% higher than what you were paying previously. You have reference to concerns about inflationary costs. However, the building manager told us he was willing to lock in that price for 5 years. We would like to offer you the $300 a month out of our own pockets to keep the center open. Student safety remains a primary concern. As you have heard, there remain serious and unresolved issues with violence and bullying in Surrey schools. The Learning Center is a safe and welcoming environment for these students who have not been able to find safety in the mainstream schools. The Learning Center closure is an issue of student safety, and the most effective way to maintain that safety is to simply continue providing the model that has already proved effective. Cutting funding to a school that supports at-risk youth goes against Surrey School's values of inclusivity and personalized learning. The district's stated commitment to meeting the needs of all students, especially those from diverse backgrounds, cannot be achieved by reducing resources for those most at risk. Cutting funding for the most at-risk learners in favor of maintaining sites for others is not adhering to the principle of inclusivity. The Learning Center model was created for a reason, and it has an amazing track record for a reason. These students need their own building with dedicated staff, specialized facilities, and room for community building. They should not be scattered across a high school campus where they will once again be exposed to the very environment that they needed to be removed from in the first place. We would now like to take a moment to ask the board if there is anyone amongst you who would be willing to put forward a motion to stop this closure. If not, we would like to invite a current student and a parent to come up and say a couple words.
Today I'm here to tell you that you've taken away our voices and our right to fight for our education. You've decided to shut down a school that has been a safe space for thousands of young people without considering the effects that it would have on our lives. all for the sake of money. No amount of money can replace what that school has done for people like me. You don't believe in this program, and that means you don't believe in us. The decision you made are nothing short of dictatorial. No respect for students, no respect for the community. You don't know us, so you don't understand us. I've been at the Learning Center for 2 years, and I only recognize one person that has been to our building. So how can a group of professionals decide to choose what's best for us without visiting us? Our school never stood a chance. It wasn't because of financial reasons. It's because you don't have the will to keep it open. Leaders make mistakes. That's reality. But true leaders learn from their mistakes and make things right. It's not too late to do the right thing. It's not too late to stand with us.
Hi there, that's my daughter, so I'm just gonna talk a little more off the cuff. I went to Semiamu Secondary from grades 8 to 12. I had an extremely troubled home life, so I cut so many classes that after 1994, they let me graduate and have the little cap and gown, but then the following September, I had to go to the Learning Center and do 2 classes to officially graduate, which I did. And when I went there, I found an incredible environment, and it makes me a little angry that all my struggling at Semi, that no one ever suggested that I go there, because I did horrible in the mainstream system. Now, one thing I want to bring to your attention is the fact that the White Rock Learning Center has about 160 kids enrolled on the books. And out of those 160 kids, I've been told by my local White Rock MLA, who's here tonight downstairs, that even if one child, when they become a legal adult, age 19, if they have dropped out of high school and do not graduate, just one, not 160, if they get in trouble with drugs, the law, anything of that nature, that the cost to deal with that one adult with addictions, police, paroles, medications, whatever, is going to be upwards of around $200,000 to deal with one delinquent adult. So this school keeps roughly 160 high-risk kids functional on track to graduation. So I think if you do the math financially, and me being a taxpayer who hates paying taxes because they're so high, I can definitely tell you it doesn't make a lot of financial sense. It seems like prevention is a lot cheaper than cure. And so when you take the whole scope of how this is going to impact the taxpayers, it's just more financially prudent to put in the $160K a year to run to keep 160 kids on track than to take that away and maybe have 3 of them drop out and become those adult delinquents that are going to cost us a lot more money. So again, like, I am very fiscally conservative, so for me the money does matter, and I just see that any kids dropping out is going to cost us more economically, socially, and relationally.
Does the board have any questions or comments for us?
I don't see anybody on the speakers list, so with that, well, thank you very much. You were on time, so that's good. Thank you. We appreciate that. There were a number of questions posed, and we will, with our staff, ensure that you do get a response.
Okay. When can we expect that response approximately?
Within the month.
Okay. And will that be? Will you be releasing that information publicly as well, or will you permit us to release that information publicly?
Well, once it's in your hands, I guess you can do what you want with it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, we also wanted to hand out our list of impact statements. You'll notice the document's quite thick.